right, on this I'm going to do a decoupage on it. And this is a pattern from Pickitz Crafts. Pickitz? Anyways, there's three separate, there's three different cutting boards on there in her pattern. There's a round one, there's this one, and then one that kind of comes down and comes like that. And the one I'm doing is this, and I might do the other one, but maybe not on here, but I'll show it to you. But what I'm going to do first is I'm just going to put some, this not Waverly, it's faux art, but I've added black to it because I wanted it darker. But I'll just do this front here, and all I'll do on this is right here on the handle, because I am going to decoupage on it. I do not want dark on it. I'll wipe this back. And that's the color I wanted. I wanted something darker. And then I'll turn it over, and I'm going to do the rest of the back. And then I'm going to let it dry, and then I'll get my image and I'll show it to you. And I'll let you know where I got it. But I'll leave the links for the cutting boards and the image. The image is free off of Facebook. They're really, really cute. But I really wanted this done with thick board, because it is made for, the pattern is an SVG, and she had it for like the glow forger, a cutter, you know, a laser. But before I got my laser even, I used to buy the patterns and cut them out in just regular wood, either with my scroll saw or a jigsaw, whatever you want to use. So I'm going to wipe this back and let it dry, and then I'll show you what I'm going to decoupage on it. Well, I decided that with my image, I'm just going to go ahead, coat this with some Mod Podge and let it dry, and then I will iron my image on. I like the way that turns out. I don't get near as many wrinkles that way. And I keep pouring too much out. Something come out of the glue bottle. But I'm just going to coat this, set it aside, and let it dry. And while this is drying, the board is drying with the Mod Podge on it, I am going to give my image a coat of hairspray so the ink does not run. And this is what we're doing. I think it's really cute. And I'll leave the link for this, not the image, but I'll leave the link to her Facebook page, because she has a lot of different images you can scroll through, and they're free. Just subscribe to her, or, you know, like her page or follow her page. And you can get a lot of cute images from her. She's really, really good at doing it. So I'm just going to give this a coat of hairspray. And I'm going to let it dry while that's drying. Everything's a drying. And that's to keep my ink from bleeding when I put the top coat of Mod Podge on it. Alright, this is dry now. And I'm ready to Mod Podge it on. I am going to iron it. Just trying to see right where I want it. I want it up a little more. I think about like that right there. I do want to cut some of this off here. But this over here, I can sand it off. Okay, that's right across there. Okay, boy, I almost cut down too far there. Okay, it's ready to iron on. Making sure that, yep, there's some white there showing. All right, that is ready to go. No white showing. Didn't want it to slide on me. All right, that should be done. Okay, now I'll just go around the edges. But this is what I'm going to do, but I don't want to do it on here because it gets loud. Now, I am taking my Distress ink in walnut, and I'm going around the edges. I did sand this all back, and there is white. And then I'm going to let that dry some, and I'm going to go over the top of this with Mod Podge. Now, I have this one coated with Mod Podge on the front side, and I have a different style cutting board and another image that I really liked from Trailside Designs. I'm going to iron it on there also. And it almost, I just should have widened it just a bit. But it will be all right when I go over it with the, what am I trying to say? My ink. Walnut ink. Okay, down around my edges. Back over the middle. See right there. Okay, and that's the image I have on it. And I'll go around it with the finger sander, and I'll ink the edges, and then I'll Mod Podge the top, just like I did this one. And it is still drying. And probably, this has got little bubbles in it. When it gets completely dry, I'll put this here over there, and I'll iron it again and iron all those bubbles down, or most of them. And then we'll do some kind of something for up in here. Can't leave it like that, you know. Alright, I am going to do the Prairie Doll or the Stump Doll that I done, and I had it in my Valentine Dobo. But I am going to try to make a bunny with it out of the face and stuff, and make the ears. So what I'll do is, here, I'm going to take this coffee dyed muslin, and I'll cut the body, I'll trace around it, I'll pin this on, and I'll just go to my machine, and I'll follow the lines where I traced it. I won't cut it out until I have it sewn up. And the same thing with the apron, or not the apron, but the bonnet. Where's my bonnet piece? I've lost my bonnet. Well, I'll find it. It's just one long piece, rectangle. That's all it is. And I'll cut that out. This will be there it is. It's inside that. It'll just be one rectangle for the bonnet. And the head and the arms will also be out of this. And I'll just trace them on. I'll trace this piece twice because I have a material doubled. And this one twice. So I'll be for that one and for this one. And then for my dress, that will be out of, this is my body. I thought I had oh, right here it is. I thought I had everything ready, but I threw it down here. This is the material that I'm going to use for my dress. And it has to be, this part has to be on a fold. It has to be like that, a fold here and a fold here. So, it's going to be plenty. I've got to I wanted to show you how to do that, because the rest of it is just doubled material. going to put that like that, and see there's a double there, and then I'm going to turn it like this. Got to get that material out over there because I have to have my material on the fold. Let's see which ways it go, like this. Fold, fold. Okay, so I'm going to trace these all off, all my material. I'm going to draw me some bunny ears. And I don't know how many times I'll have to do that before I get them to look right. But I want to try to turn her into a bunny. Alright, here's my ears. I don't know if they're going to work. There's my dress. And then here's my body pieces. And I was thinking I needed the bonnet, but I don't need a bonnet because it's going to be a bunny. And when I get this all finished, then I'll start on trying to make a carrot. Because I've got this out here. And I looked and I thought, I don't need that bonnet. But I needed to see about how long to make the ears. And I think that's going to work. And now if I can just get the face to, when I do that, get the face to look like a bunny, and I have the ears on there, that ought to work. Okay, I just want to show you on the head, I just take this one and I sewed it to that, so the two of those were together. And then I took another piece that looked like that and started up here, put it together and sewed it there. And now I'll take that piece and sew it onto there, and then the last piece, or well, the same piece, I'll close it up there. Okay, I've done that box pleat, and I'm going to do this one. I'm going to separate the materials. Put those seams together. Okay, I'm going to pin it to make sure they're together, and I've got that. All right, opened it up and it went back. Okay, I'm going to put these seams together so like they stay. And then I'm just going to sew it. When I start, now I am going to pull my pin out. Okay, I need that to go down in there. If I think this is not stretched out good. There it is. Okay, it is seamed. They're both boxed now. When we turn it inside out, it'll set like that. Okay, now on your dress, remember it was cut on the fold, or we put that on a fold and this on a fold. And now I am going to take it and turn it like that. You need the widest part. You don't want to turn it. I'm trying to do this one-handed. I'm trying to show you though. You don't want to turn it like that because this down here won't be big enough to go around your body of your doll. It has to be turned like this. And on this, I'll just sew the side up here and that, and then go over here on this side and do the same, the side and there. And I'll have to cut a spot open for the neck when it comes time for that. But that's the way I'm going to sew it up. And the arm's right here. And this is the bottom of your dress. Okay, there I have it sewn. I meant to tell you, I took some kitty litter. I've got about that much in there. And I had it in this baggie, and I made a little funnel. And then I held this up like that, and I took the tip of the baggie off, very carefully tipped it up, and I poured all, I meant to record this and I forgot to do it. I just started working. And I put all the kitty litter down in there. And the baggie was probably about that full. You don't need a whole lot, but now it has a little weight on it. And I'll start, get my fiberfill, and I'll stuff that, and I'll stuff my head. And this is the bunny ears. I have my arms here somewhere. There they are. I have to pull them inside out, and I'll only stuff them till about right here, and then I'll run in, or I'll either run into sewing machine and put a little stitch across there, or I'll just run one by hand with a needle. I don't know which one I'll do. And then I've already turned this inside out, and I wanted to tell you, right here on the corner of your sleeve and your dress, you want to make sure you clip that in a little bit, and not into the seam, because you'll have a really, really bad pucker if you don't put a little clip there right in the corner. I usually clip one in the corner and then one that way and one this way. And that's my dress. So I'm going to get my fiberfill now and start stuffing all this. I have everything pretty much stuffed. Yeah, I do. But I've got to have a needle ready here. I wanted to show you on the head. It's going to be the same for the head and the body. And I've showed this on other ones I've made. I'm just going to do a running stitch all the way around. And then I'll pull it tight and draw it up and close it off. So now I'm just going to do the same thing with this. Going to run it around there. And it won't, like I said, it won't take, because you can fold that. But now let me show you the ears. Well, here's the arms. I stuffed them about halfway, and I just done a running stitch on those, on both of those. And then on my ear, I've taken just some of the wire, that I think this is 20 gauge, that I use all the time. And I just went down to the end, and I left about that much hanging out. It's a little over an inch. Well, that one's about an inch. That's not too far from an inch. Now I'm going to take my needle and going to do a running stitch and pull it just like I did this one. And then when my glue gun gets warmed up, well, actually no, I won't do anything, because when I put this on the doll head, on the head, I'll be gluing it, so there's no sense in gluing it twice. I'm just making this up as I go on the bunny. So I'm going, like I said, I'm going to stitch this and pull it like I did that one, stitch that up, and I should be ready to start working on the face before I put it on the head. Okay, I took my friction pin and I've drawn a face on there. I don't know what it's going to look like, but I'm going to go in with I have 3 strands of this floss, or embroidery floss, and it's not tied on. I mean, you don't put a knot in it, but you don't want, when you get to the end, you don't want to pull it. You don't want to pull it so much that you pull it out. I'll just make sure that goes where it's not showing. And go right there. I'm going to come out over here. And I'm going to go right beside that and go right in between where I would start up there. Okay. Trying to come right out the tip. I think right there. Now, that looks good. I'm going to go back in there and come out for the mouth. I'm thinking I want just a little, the mouth to come up just a little bit. So I'm going to go right at the bottom of the nose. And I'm going to make that come out where it kind of comes up. And hopefully it looks all right. And then come down here. Come up right there again. I'm just doing it the way I'm looking to see what I can do. It's not, I'm not saying this is the way it's supposed to be done. Okay, I'm going to come right up through there. I'm going to come up a little bit. See, I got to come up like that one is. Up just a little bit. Thinking like that. If I don't like it, I'll rip it out. Great. There's no way I can thread that needle with that 3 strands. Okay, I got that back on there. I don't want to slip it off again. Now, I'm going to go out right there, back in there, and then I'm coming out over here. We'll see what it looks like when I finish. Now, for my eyes, I do have those doll eyes. So I'm going to get those out and see what they look like. And here's my bunny ear. I think it's going to look like a bunny. And I contemplated whether to do this pink or not also. I pulled out some pink floss. Just wasn't really sure. Okay, I'm going to get my eyes and I'll come right back. And then when I get those done, then we'll put the ears on them. Okay, I got my doll eyes out. And I put one on there. I've got to clip this off because I cannot get those shoved down in there with that stuffing. Where's my, I need my, yeah. All right. I'm going to take this that comes with my doll eyes. You can see how hard it is to get that one that's pointed. Stick that in there right like that. Hope it's big enough to get some glue down into. Okay, pick this up real fast. Oh, no, no, no. That's going to be dry by the time I get it on there. Okay. Didn't want that glue coming out. That one I didn't have any trouble with that. Of course, I wasn't filming. Well, it's the best it's going to get. I better leave that alone so it will dry on there. Now, he needs some pink on his cheeks. But I'll do that in a minute. I want to get this bunny ear on. I think I'm going to have to cut some of this off. Let's see, where do I want it? Probably about right in there where I had that. Eek. Okay, let's see how far that'll go down in there. Yeah, I need to cut some of that off. Probably half of it. Okay, this needs to go this way. Okay, I think that will work. Okay, now I am going to put some of this around right there. Kind of hold these ears where I've gathered them on it. Scrunching them up and just holding them there. And I know I'm going to have to cut some of this off. So I might as well get it done. This one wasn't quite as long. I'm going to wait for all that hot glue to cool, and then I'll go on with this ear, and then I'll put some pink on the cheeks, and then I think what I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to attach I did slip my neck open here, but I think I'll put the arms on and then slip this down on there, put her arms through it, and then glue her head on, and then do the running stitch around and tighten it so that tightens around her neck, the bunny neck. I guess I could leave that alone right now, put the arms on, and they go right at the shoulder. I'm going to put a little bit of glue in there, just a little. And then I'm going to do her arm like that. And I'm going to let this cool. Okay, you stay like that. I'll hold that there. Okay, that's still hot. Okay, that one's okay now. About right there. I've got to hold that. Okay, I'm just going to set that down for a minute and let it cool. Okay. Now dress my bunny. Okay, where's my arm at? I don't want to pull it off. Okay, now this one needs to go up in the armhole. Which way do I got that going? We'll see if this is going to work, because I've never done it this way. I usually have the head on it, but I think it's going to work. I just got to keep that away when I put the head on. So what I'll do is, after I get her little cheeks on, hold this back and I'll glue the head on. I may not even really, yeah. I don't even know if I really need to go around the doll. I might run that around there while the head's off and just leave the needle hanging. And then after I get the head on, I'll pull it. Okay, I have my blush and I'm just going, whoa. Oh, I need to put some in the ears anyway too. Get a piece of material, I don't want it real dark to go with. I can put it darker if I want it, but I don't want it to go on real dark till I want it that way. That looks good. Okay, now the little ears. Just gonna have to bend it straight. Okay, that is good enough. Be careful with that. I don't really know how I want them. I'm just going to set them like that till I get it on the doll, the body. Okay, you can see I'm just doing a running stitch around the neck, but I'm going to loosen it up. I don't want it pulled tight till I get the head on. All right, you can see how I had that running stitch around there and I just left that hanging. So I am going to now glue her head on. And I am going to push down. Okay, I think he's dry enough that I can pull this around the neck now and tie it off. See? So I'll tie that off and see what else I'm going to do with her. Okay, I've decided to put the little apron on her, so I've just done a running stitch on it. Okay, I need to stretch that out where I want it. Move the arms. Think about like that right there. So, I got hot glue on me. I'll knot that off there so it stops. And then I'll ruffle it the way I want it. Okay. There. Had that bow in her hair. I don't know if I want that or maybe some dark brown. There's a little bit longer of a piece. wanted to double that. Kind of the reason I'm going to use the brown. So I'm going to get it to where it goes back here and ties. But I'm not going to make you watch me fiddle with it. All right, I took like a piece of pie. It's actually a triangle that has the top rounded. And I made a 3-inch, 4-inch, 5-inch, and 6-inch because I didn't know what I was going to use. I'm going to start with the 4-inch. I'm going to cut this out. And then I'm going to go to my machine and sew it up. And I'm wondering if I shouldn't come up with a little bit like that. I think I will. And if I don't need it, I'll cut it off, maybe. Okay. And then I'll take it to my machine and stitch right down there and turn it inside out. And I decided, like I said earlier, I thought this was too bright. So before I sew it up, I'm just coating some instant coffee and water on it because all the cinnamon is sunk to the bottom. And I need to go mix some more stuff up. I'm about out. Now, I am going to have to let this dry before I sew it up. All right, I have done another running stitch around my carrot. I stuffed it with some fiber fill. I didn't overstuff it or anything, but enough to where it filled it up. And then I've got some of this greenery that I got from Hobby Lobby. Well, I actually have it in a pot, and I went and stole some of it. I cut some off. So I am just going to put a little dab of glue down in there and glue that in there. But I'm going to have to hold it. And then I'm going to pull my running stitch real tight to go around the carrot. And on the carrot, the pie shape, I did widen. It's still a 4-inch, but I put an inch on the end or on the side of it. Well, like I added more like right here. This isn't it, but that's what I done is I added more. Because there wasn't much to sew. To me, the carrot would have been too thin. I didn't even bother sewing it. I just thought, nah, I think I need a little more size to the carrot. So I added it on right here. Okay, that's good. I think I can pull this now. Okay, I'll hang on to it and tie off.